Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brian Martin with your daily Manchester United news show. On your way in, please like and subscribe before we get started. And just, do all that good social media stuff. Hope you are doing well today. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. So, we would talk about the tiff between Amorim and Nevill, the little spat they have going on, Mason Mount, Harry Maguire, and a few other topics, right? So, let's go ahead and get into it. So, first, Amorim's quotes. He says, "My players, I guarantee you, they are listening to all the opinions and they are putting that inside because we are not winning games. They have to believe in me. So my biggest problem is that my players believe in you guys when you say the problem of our team is the system." That's what Ruben Amorim said. Now, Gary Neville said, "I've not got a lot of time for that." He says, "If pundits are getting in your head, you shouldn't be playing for the club. Simple as that." He says, "Do people not remember Alan Hansen criticizing us as young kids, saying you can't win anything with kids?" He says, "I'm sorry you're playing for Manchester United. It comes with the territory. You've got to step up." "I never blamed anyone else when we lost matches," he explained. This is Gary Neville. He said, "I played in a dressing room whereby when you lost football matches, you came in and said, 'Sorry about that today, lads. I was a mess for that goal.' There was accountability. Why would you blame other people when you're losing matches? That's a pretty big problem in itself. I've not got any time. Excuse mentality, shortcuts, blaming other people is the worst thing that you can do in life," is what he was trying to say. They need to concentrate on doing their job and doing it well and win football matches. That's the only thing that's going to shut people up, and that's winning football matches. And they've not won anywhere near enough football matches. Now, those are your quotes from both Ruben Amorim and Gary Neville. So my thoughts on that. I mean, look, Gary Neville's got a point. If you're playing for Manchester United, biggest club in the world, is going to come with criticism. I mean, think about any of you. If you've ever worked for a large company, a company that's always in the media, right? There's going to be a little extra scrutiny, right? People around you, your friends, your family, they're going to ask you questions about what's going on, this and that. Your CEO has been in the media. I've been in that position before. I've been at several large companies where we've had CEOs, celebrity CEOs in the media. And believe it or not, me, who's just a little peon, a little cog in the wheel, would get asked extra questions as soon as people found out that's where I was working, right? Extra little bit of scrutiny there, if you will. So, I mean, I can only imagine if you are one of the players that plays week in, week out, the scrutiny that you get, So, I mean, but it's Manchester United, right? It just comes with the territory, right? Now, what I will say, and I have to, although I'm probably older than I look, I have to be honest and I have to have my eyes open. I have to be with the times and understand that these are younger players we're talking about for the most part. They grew up with social media. They live and die by social media, right? I mean, social media is so widespread and impactful. And I know that I want to say maybe it was the United View or United Stand, one of those channels, or maybe it was somewhere on Twitter. I'm not sure where I heard it or read it, but basically they were saying that, you can liken social media post about you to being on the front page of the newspaper back in the day. So I get that to an extent. But once that article was printed, it was printed, and sure, people would have a go at you if they saw you in the street or at the match, but that's about it. With social media today, multiple articles can be printed throughout the day and repeated and quoted and, reposted and things like that, right? And then these players, they read the comments, right? And then people can just keep going in on them and keep going in and keep going in. So that to me is the difference between being put on the front page of a newspaper back in the day versus being blasted on social media globally. Again, I'm not excusing any fragile mentalities because the players, by the same token, have to realize that social media is everywhere and prevalent and leaves you exposed to a wider range of people. I do have to also acknowledge the fact that, it's not like it was back in the day, in that what I just said, social media exposes you to more people around the world, and they can, and in real time, right? They can have a go at you in real time. I mean, look at me right now, right? I'm here live with you, and you could be posting and saying whatever you want about me, and even long after this video is done, you can come back and post and say whatever, and I try not to read it. Sometimes I do, right? So I get both sides of it, but at the end of the day, you know, you have to keep your head down and play. You have to know that there are going to be idiots out there who are going to say, disrespectful and mean things. Um, that's separate from people who just criticize your play, right? Okay, that's one thing to criticize how you're playing and keep it focused on the football. It's another thing when you got people who kind of want to say things and make personal attacks, right? That's the stuff that, I absolutely do not condone, and I don't get into, and neither should you. And I understand when players speak out about that, right? And understand how that can affect you mentally, right? I mean, take for example, just recently, Alice Talks Football, right? She's a big YouTube I would say star, but you know what I mean? Like I had to call it my YouTube star. She's a YouTube, personality, just like United View, United Stand, FUTV. These are all Manchester United focused, obviously, Mina football, right? Larger names in the community. So I mean, like take for example her, right? She went on Sky Sports the other day, and she was invited, I assume, and whatnot, and had her say, and like the comments were just so like vile, and it's like, what is that? What is that about? Like, why is it that people feel like they need to get on there, and rather than just saying, you know what, Alice, I disagree with you, or you know what, Brian, I disagree with you, or whoever it is, I disagree with you, and this is why. It's no, I'm going to attack you personally and talk about things that aren't even related to football because why? Like why? Right? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. It just it's weird. It's bizarre. I wish that, someone would do a study on that and just find out like why is that people feel so entitled and welcome to just like abusing other people, right? Anyway, I don't mean to get into a side tangent, but it's just it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre. Um anyway, moving on. Mason Mount. Mason Mount. Money Mount. Money Mace. Is he our most important player? That's a question for you. I posted it yesterday on Twitter. You can follow me here on Twitter. And I'll ask that question again to you today. Is he our most important player? I mean, you look at the performances that he gives. He may not always grab the headlines with scoring goals, but the performances that he gives, they really do help the team, right? Um, even when I first saw him come to United, and I thought, okay, this guy's not putting up big numbers. What is he doing here? He's useless. He's injured. Blah 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 blah. But as he's played more consistently for us, I'm like, okay, he brings that extra bit of bite, that extra bit of urgency, that intensity that has been missing from our side for quite a while now. And that is infectious for the rest of the team, right? That spreads throughout the rest of the team. When you're playing and you see, your teammate getting after it, getting stuck in, that little bit of nasty edge to them, it makes you feel like, yeah, I need to step up too, and and get in that because it's yielding positive results. He's making the other team cough up the ball. He's forcing mistakes. He's, in and around the box about to score potentially, or setting up others to score. You can be a part of that, right? Who doesn't want to be a part of that on a football team? So it's infectious. And so I think that that can only be positive for the team. Now, of course, the question is, who do you drop to keep Mason Mount in the side? I mean, I don't think Sheshko's getting dropped up front. I don't think Mbumo's getting dropped because he's playing well. I mean, obviously Cunha was the person who got axed this time and, left to the bench, but I don't think that's going to keep happening, especially with the money that was splashed out on Cunha, right? This Cunha was Amorim signing, so I don't see that continuing to happen. Bruno's not getting dropped. He never gets dropped. He's the captain. He plays all the time, which I disagree with. There's Casemiro and Agarte, but I mean, again, Casemiro on massive wages. I mean, like, is he really going to get dropped to the bench, right? 350K a week. You going to put that on the bench? So right wing back is Ahmad, left wing back. You got Dorgu over there. Dallo played over there, obviously. I think Malacia steps in there. And of course, he's not playing in any center back role. So where does he play consistently? That's a question. I don't know. You let me know what you think. I mean, if it were me, I'd want him to play exactly where he played in this last match against Sunderland. I think he needs to be in that 10 role so he can influence offensively and harry the other team. But I think also he needs to help with ball recovery and add that intensity. So that's why I would put him exactly where he was, right there, in that 10 role, kind of behind the striker slash assisting the striker, but then not too far out of reach for the midfield where he can drop in and help there as well. Um, and honestly, like for me, Cunha has not been pulling up trees, right? So I know I'm kind of contradicting what I said earlier about, Cunha being Amorim's signing. Is he going to drop him? But I think Amorim made the best decision, honestly, by starting Mount. Apart from the obvious goal he scored, but just in his play, right? I think Mount has been better than Cunha. And I applaud Amorim for having uh, the guts to make that decision. Um, and I wish that he would do it more and throughout the pitch. Again, like I said, with Bruno, there have been games where Bruno has been crap, but he stayed on the pitch because he's the captain. I don't know if it's in his contract or what the deal is, but there were times where Bruno should have been hooked. I think he got hooked once under Amram, and that was it. But apart from that, like he plays, and there are times where it's like, look, this isn't a game for Bruno, right? Especially in the midfield. So you know, I would keep Mount where he is and let him keep playing until Cunha wins his spot back. I think that's what breeds a good competitive squad, right? When no one's guaranteed to start, you say, okay, um, Brian's starting right wing, but Brian got injured. You stepped in to take Brian's place. You've been playing well. Now Brian has to battle back to get his starting spot back. Brian just doesn't walk right back in. I think that breeds, a good mentality around the team. I think that pushes everyone to be their maximum, to be at their limit, and you get better results on the pitch. I mean, there's no way you can't get better results, right? These are talented professional footballers. When you push them to their max, they will produce, and you need to consistently push them to their max week in and week out, right? So I wholeheartedly applaud Amarim for that, for putting Mount in there. If you're just joining, please do subscribe, like, share, and get in the chat. So let me know what you think. Again, my question to you is Mason Mount our most important player at the moment? Let me know what you think. Jumping into some quick Harry Maguire news. So it was kind of back and forth with Harry Maguire, right? So I feel like maybe a month ago I reported that Harry Maguire was maybe up for a new contract. Well, now it seems like the opposite. Now it seems like he might be headed to Al Nassr or Al Ettifaq in June of 2026. Almost forgot what year it was. Time's flying by so fast. Yeah, June 2026. So that means, and that's when his contract ends. So that means that he can start talking to these clubs, in theory, in January, right? So that's what, a couple months away. So, could this be Harry Maguire's last season at United? Earlier, I was saying that I feel like he deserves one more year, right? Just given that he's been professional and he, is a reliable backup to De Ligt. I think with a better team in front of him, you would see better from Maguire, right? He can't be the last man back. He's too slow, but he is good at spraying the passes from the back line. I mean, you got to give him credit there. Good at getting in the balls and things like that. So honestly, if we've got games where we want to rest De Ligt and we know we're going to control the match, I'd put Harry Maguire in there. Absolutely would. And again, he's professional, so the players coming through can look up to him and see how he weathered the storm of having the armband, having it taken off of him, that thing in Greece, and kept his head down, kept working, and produced some good performances and some big time goals, right? So, I feel like he deserves another year, but I mean, if he deems that it's his time to go, then I wish him all the best. It kind of feels a little bit sad. It feels like a bit of an end of an era with Harry Maguire leaving, right? Because he was brought in as like the new shiny center back, and I remember that fanfare when he came in and all that stuff, and then obviously what happened afterwards and the up and down. So it would feel like a bit of a end of an era, right? If Harry Maguire leaves. So watch this space on that one. Sticking with transfer news, so the Adam Wharton. Well, I mean, honestly, in general, the transfer machine has whirred its way back to life. I mean, obviously, right? It's the international break, so what else are the pundits and talking heads like myself going to talk about other than transfer speculation at this time? So continuing on with that, Adam Wharton was at Palace, 21. Supposedly, there's a gentleman's agreement in place for Wharton to leave Crystal Palace if Palace cannot come up with an offer that matches what maybe a Manchester United or a bigger team would put together. That's what I've read, that there is a gentleman's agreement in place for that. So we could be seeing Adam Wharton next summer. So far, 6 matches, no goals, no assists. Excuse me. Angelo Stiller, I feel like the talk around Angelo Stiller has kind of cooled off a little bit. I feel like, people were looking for alternatives to Wharton and to Baleba, and I guess they were maybe scrounging for names, and so Angelo Stiller came up, and so you saw the Angelo Stiller compilations and da 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 da. And you know, I feel like it's died down a bit. Um, Anyway, his release clause last time I read was 30 million pounds. He has played 6 matches so far and has 1 assist. Now Conor Gallagher, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest, 22-year-old kid, 7 matches, 1 assist. Now I bet he is begging to get out of Forest. I mean, Forest have been abysmal lately. Ange is not having a good start there. I actually made a bit of a funny video about that on my other channel, Football with Brian Martin. Yeah, Ange is. He may not make it to Christmas. Honestly, he may not make it to what are we in October? October 6th right now? I give Ange mid-November because we're on international break right now. It's bought him some time. Maybe he can do some talking and figuring it out. But I give him like another 6 weeks, I would say. Because Ange just had an awful start over there at Forest. But anyway, Elliot Anderson, I think, if things continue, he might be someone that we could get and grab, especially given the current circumstances. Now, Conor Gallagher, who I started on, um, Atletico Madrid, 8 matches, 1 goal. I think he could be the guy that we get potentially in January. I know, again, the noise around him has quieted down, but I don't know. I have a sneaky feeling that he could be someone that we try and bring in January. I could be totally wrong. Tell me who you think, but that's just my guess there. And then now Carlos Baleba. So he was like the talk of the town over the summer. Um, we put in the bid for him. He wanted to come to Manchester United, and now he's played like crap the start of this season. I've been saying his head was turned, and now he's lost focus, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm playing here. I'm giving it a go." But you look over the fence, you look over the other playground, the other kids wearing the red jerseys and the black shorts and black socks, and you're like, "I want to be playing over there with those kids," right? So I get it, like he's down tools a little bit, right? And some people have questioned saying, "Oh, well, that's not the mentality that we need." But look at Anthony, right? Anthony down tools before he came to Manchester United. Granted, Anthony was a flop, but he gave his all on the pitch, and he wanted to be at United. He wanted to play every single match. So I don't put a whole lot of stock into Baleba's drop in performance right now. I think he's pissed that he didn't get his move to United. And again, he's a young kid, right? He's what, 21, so you can't expect some of these players to be so mature, right? Because they are human beings, and human beings who've been given a lot, right? Financially and in terms of attention and things like that, right? So you kind of expect, if I'm being honest, a bit more immaturity than you would your average person um, at that age. So, do I think it's a bit unprofessional what he's doing? Yes. Am I putting much stock into it? No. I think as soon as he stepped through the door at Carrington, he'd be his old self, and we'd be raving about his performances again. So that's my take on Baleba. You can sign it, seal it, deliver it. That's my take. That's my stance on it. I think we get him in summer. Some people are saying maybe January, but no, I think summer. I think summer he comes and he turns it around, and we finally get the player we've been waiting for. Um, There's talk of Ruben Neves, Al Hilal, former Wolves player, Premier League proven. He's 28, so he's in his prime, but that would be a loan for me at best. I don't know if I'd go in and buy him. Um, you know, yeah, like if we did buy him, I would say, look, you're going to come off the bench. You're not going to start. So does he want that now in his career? I mean, I think he's making big bucks at Al Hilal, so he probably want that same salary, which we shouldn't do. We're trying to get away from that wage structure. So maybe on him. But my targets for sure are Baleba, Gallagher, and Wharton. Right, bring those three in, we'd have a monster midfield, if you ask me. Anyway, on to the women's front. So, for women's news, just very quickly on fitness. So, Leah Galton is working her way back to fitness. Millie Turner, unfortunately, is out till Christmas. So the women drew with Chelsea on Friday. We ended Chelsea's 100% run. I think we were the first draw. And also, I mean, it's Chelsea, just an absolutely dominant women's team. And we drew with them. We went toe to toe. I think we could have beat them with a few tweaks. But, I am here in this seat, and Skinner is there in the hot seat. So, Skinner, if you're watching, give me a call. Got a few ideas for you. But anyway, beating Chelsea, major statement. I mean, not beating Chelsea, I wish. Drawing with Chelsea, major statement. Drawing with Arsenal, major statement. So I think we are poised for a run at the title this year. I've said it. I'm going to keep saying it. We are poised for a run at the WSL title this year. Lock it in. Our next match for the women is against Vålerenga. They are a tough side, but again, I think that we play in the tougher league, and we've done very well in our league. So I think that we take down Vålerenga. I'll be doing a match watch for that. Last time I did a match watch for the Chelsea game, you guys came and supported. You were awesome. It was great to watch with all of you. So let's do it again for Vålerenga. And I'll probably do it again for the, Everton and Atletico Madrid matches as well. I think that's who the women also have. I have to double check the calendar, the schedule. But yeah, I'll be doing that as well. So looking ahead in general, as I said, women's match against Vålerenga, UEFA Women's Champions League, October 8th. Again, watch with me. You don't want to miss that. It's gonna be fun. And then for the men, we're on international break, but we have Liverpool first game back on October 19th. Liverpool currently second in the table. Poor run of games late. I called Slot a fraud. I got a lot of flack for it. I called him a fraud before this last Chelsea match. And the Liverpool fans, they ate me up for it. It wasn't on this channel. It was on my other channel, Football with Brian Martin. I said, Arne Slot's a fraud. And man, they lit me up. They lit me up for saying that just before the Chelsea match. And they lost to Chelsea. And so I went back in the comments and I said, hey, knock, knock, just coming to do a wellness check on you all. Crickets, silence, not a word. So I'm just saying, man, watch this space, right? Like last year, Slot won with Klopp's team. Let's see what he does, right? I think it's a fraud. Because you watch that match, the Chelsea Liverpool. Liverpool looked all over the shop, right? They did not look together at all. So anyway, but just that's my other channel, Football with Brian Martin. So check it out. And for the Liverpool match, of course, I would do a match preview. I would do a match watch where we watch together. We get to converse back and forth, have a dialogue, and hopefully watch our boys get 3 points. And then of course we will break down what I hope to be another 3 points in the bag for Manchester United. Question: will we see Lisandro Martinez on the bench? Probably not, but I think we'll see Mazraoui back. I don't know what injury Mazraoui had, but Ruben Amorim said he should be back during the break and obviously available for Liverpool. So hoping he comes back. It'll be interesting to see once he's back. Do we start him that game? Do we put him to left wing back? Right? Because last time we had Ahmad right wing back, Dallo left wing back, which I didn't like. Maybe we put Mazraoui left wing back. I don't know. Or do we switch Ahmad's side? I don't know. Bring Dorgu back into starting 11? Who knows? But I will let you know what I think in the match preview. So really, that's what I got for you guys today. A quick few reminders before you leave. Please do like, please subscribe, please turn on notifications for this channel. Follow me on Twitter over here, and check out my other page. Like I said, Football with Brian Martin. I've got other non-Manchester United related stuff there. Although I do sneak in some Manchester United related content as well, because it's Manchester United, the best club, the greatest club to ever exist. So anyway, I will end it on that note, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.